Welcome to the Olympus Report, Demigods, Monsters, and Gods Alike. Sometimes we're forced to pick sides, to fight for what we believe is right, even if it makes us do some wrong things. Here's a character breakdown. Ethan Nakamura is a Greek demigod, son of Nemesis. Ethan was a teenage boy of Japanese descent and looked to be around 16 years old during his fight with Percy. He had a thin build, glossy black hair, and a black eye patch over his left eye. Ethan was a brave, impetuous boy who was very driven by his goals, and according to Percy, was a well-trained fighter. Ethan grew up like most demigods. When old enough, he was brought to Camp Half-Blood. Nemesis didn't have a cabin at that time and thus never claimed Ethan, so he ended up stuck in the Hermes cabin. One day, Ethan met his mother, who promised that one day he would balance the world's power in exchange for his left eye. She took his left eye and he wore an eye patch over it. Like most unclaimed demigods, Ethan was angry and felt unrecognized and eventually joined Kronos' army. Ethan fought Percy Jackson in Antoine arena to prove himself, as it was the only way to join Kronos' army. However, due to Ethan's heavy armor, Percy deliberately fought to tire him out, and therefore he lost to Percy. Ethan seemed to accept his fate and told Percy to get on with it and kill him. However, Percy refused to kill him and helped him up instead. When Percy killed Antoine, Ethan escaped the arena along with Percy, Annabeth, and Rachel. Ethan tells them his story and Percy says he could help, but Ethan declines Percy's help and runs off back to Kronos. Ethan is later seen with two Telekine discussing plans to resurrect Kronos, having joined Kronos' army despite Percy showing him mercy. Percy, who was invisible at the time thanks to Annabeth's Yankees cap of invisibility, begged Ethan not to do this. Percy had spared him, but Ethan betrayed him. Ethan, however, does not listen to Percy and fully pledges himself to Kronos, thus resurrecting the Titan. Later, Ethan was sent to the underworld. With the assistance of the Titan Iapetus, Ethan stole the unfinished sword of Hades with the intention of using it to resurrect many of the Titans from Tartarus. After Iapetus fell into the river Lethe, however, the sword was retrieved by Percy Jackson and Ethan fled the scene. But for his previous actions, Ethan was made a lieutenant of Kronos. He enters the battle and almost kills Percy with a poison knife, almost stabbing him in his Achilles heel, or weak spot. But Annabeth manages to get in the way and save Percy. Percy is furious and hits Ethan on the helmet with his sword, denting his helmet and knocking Ethan unconscious. When confronted by Kronos about where exactly he was aiming for when facing Percy in battle, he simply claimed he wasn't aiming for any place in particular. It was all a blur to him. Ethan may have forgotten because of his concussion, but I choose to believe that Ethan did not tell Kronos that bit of information because Ethan was starting to see the errors of his way and was maybe turning to Percy's side. During their last showdown while Kronos is destroying the Olympian throne room, Percy pleads with Ethan that Kronos is evil and that destroying everything would not bring balance, which Ethan is trying to achieve. Ethan then rebels against Kronos at the last second and strikes his neck, saving Percy's life. If Percy hadn't spared Ethan's life when they initially met, Percy would now be dead, showing us that it does pay off to show our enemies kindness. After Ethan strikes Kronos, his blade shatters and ricochets through his armor into his stomach. Before dying, Ethan tells Percy that the minor gods, like his mother Nemesis, deserve thrones and forgiveness from the rest of the gods. Kronos then makes a fissure in Olympus, killing Ethan as he falls into empty air, thousands of feet above the ground. It was Ethan's last words that led Percy to ask the gods to honor the minor gods, but more importantly, take responsibility for their children. Thanks to Ethan's actions, demigods in the future won't have to make the choices he did. Ethan's actions not only inadvertently changed the gods, but he changed the lives of half-bloods to come. Like Percy said, Ethan is an extremely powerful fighter. His abilities include ADHD, dyslexia, swordsmanship. Ethan is an extremely skilled swordsman. And his demigod abilities are Psychokinesis. It can be assumed that Ethan can control the likelihood of good and bad things happening to individuals, to even out supposed good and bad luck. Ethan made a lot of bad choices, but like most well-written villains, he made them because he thought what he was doing was right and was for the betterment of the world. Life of a demigod is not fair, and unfortunately, Ethan got the short end of the stick. But I do believe Ethan is a hero and cemented himself as a hero when he sacrificed himself to save Percy and try and stop Kronos. Ethan had a lot of pride, and to go back on his choices was extremely difficult. Admitting when we're wrong is one of the hardest things anyone can do. Because of Ethan's actions, Percy lived, Kronos was defeated, and the mythical world was changed for the better. By honoring the minor gods and having gods claim their kids, Ethan potentially prevented future wars, saving countless lives. And like Percy said, we should remember him for the good and not the bad. Did I leave anything out about Ethan Nakamura? Let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, I'm signing off. And please, as always, stay safe.